All right, one more couple of pieces. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to add that to sort of, you know, there's this big idea of the social and you know, how social stuff seems to scale superlinearly, but it's not always the case. So this is a super interesting thing. We'll come back to this later on. This is to do with how many, many kinds of complex systems are distributed, and it seems to be like maybe broken into small pieces, right? We have things that we've forced, you know, maybe states and counties and so on, but we have other things like where we've put out, where Starbucks gets put. Okay, just one second. And then where hospitals are, where schools are. How do you allocate those things based on the population? So that's right, and different motivations, yes.
Sorry, what again is the difference between superlinear, sublinear, and linear in terms of the mean?
So linear scaling, right? If you've got y as a function of x, its scaling is x to the power of 1. Superlinear is x to the power of alpha, where alpha is greater than 1.
Yeah.
And sublinear is, that's it.
Yeah, I understand that, but what's the meaning of it?
Well, so superlinear means that it's taking off, right? It's growing faster than the population. So there's right, so if you double the population, you more than double the crime or wealth or these other social things.
Okay.
But you less than double the suicide rate. Yeah, so it's a return to scale. So things that scale linearly, you know, bigger cities, you know, it's just like a smaller city, right? But if you increase the population, then these other things change in ways that are, and so there's debates about, you know, the actual exponents and all those things, but it does seem to be there is superlinear scaling, right? It's not, you know, to the power of 2, it's not insane, you know, it's not out of control, but it's above 1. Yeah. Right, I mean, you look at these things, you think, well, why would anyone want to not live in a huge city or something, right? So it starts to sort of, because it's not measuring everything, obviously, right? And you need people sort of, I mean, well, do you need? Yeah, I think we do need people living in all sorts of scales and places. This is a different thing now, right? So this is population density. So you're going to have to look, so we go to New York City, it's very dense, and then you move out to the country, you know, it's low and so on. So you're measuring density in some way, but you're putting, you know, areas around. And then we're going to look at the density of some facility. And in this case, on the left, it's ambulatory hospitals in the US, and then public schools in the US. And so there are two different densities, population density and then density of things that are servicing that population. This is, again, a superlinear scaling, right? So they're more dense. The population doubles. You get more hospitals than you would expect from a linear point of view. But schools actually, this is more like 2/3. This is more like a 2/3 scaling, right? So you double the population, you don't double the density, or you double the population density, I should say, but you don't double the density of, say, schools. And so this is from a work that followed on from really many, many, many decades, many people, like geographers, mathematicians, lots of different people thinking about this problem, computer scientists thinking about it as well. How do you allocate facilities, whatever the problem is? And this seems to be a pro-social kind of thing. This is a result of you wanting to make the average distance or time that anyone needs to travel to these locations to be small, right? So this is good for public schools. If you're trying to make money, then it's more like a linear scaling. You don't care so much about the less dense places. So we'll get into that later on, but it connects also to forest fires and how you would try to put in forest breaks, right? How you allocate things and why we end up with heterogeneous structures. And I think the big story is many systems are trying to minimize risk in some way. Risk is sort of the piece here. So that is something we're actually, through this course, we've been kind of building this story. And Dewhurst, who's your, David Dewhurst, who's your, the assistant, or the TA in this course, this is going to be I think a fantastic piece of work from him.